Greetings, sentient beings. Welcome to Free Pasta. They were playing the monster inside. Damn, this has such a noir feel to it. This makes me want to monologue. Men. What makes a man a man? I've met more men than I can count. Some I knew, some I thought I knew, some who didn't even know themselves. It ain't a question of smarts and it ain't a question of morals. I've seen smart men, dumb men, good men, and bad men. Every last air-sucking, shoe-tying schmuck in this city has the capacity to do wrong. But a couple of unlucky folks have a monster inside. So, yeah, I don't know anything about this game. My head pounded, ears still ringing slightly. Some of the worst nightmares I had in years left me feeling like I'd been punched in the jaw. But just like any other day, I dragged myself to the office. Man, you sure called that one, huh? There was another notice on the floor from Mayor Vanetti's office. Permit's out of date. They didn't like me much, and they were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow month, weeks since I had any real case to work. So I passed the time pacing the office, smoking and staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bedsheet. I don't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see. Afraid that someday I might have to face what I really am. Girl came in so quiet I nearly choked on my cigarette. Mister, please, you gotta help me, mister. You ever hear a knocking first? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. It's all right. Sit down. Tell me your tale. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back a handful of pills and chased them with a swig of whiskey. I could tell this might take a while. Her name was Lily. She told me she was his mistress, the man all over the newspapers, the infamous banker, Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, philandering bastard, but this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he had recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in Central Park 2 nights ago. You don't understand. He just couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him, and no one believes me. He's got to be in trouble. I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Well, mister, Jack. You can call me Jack. Jack, whoever did that, his wife must have been the one who took him. He would never have left without me, he promised me. I'm sure Mr. Farnsworth promised this poor girl a lot of things. Please, the cops won't listen to me and they want to bring him in on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him. Honestly, I doubt they're in too much of a hurry. Farnsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets. Probably why they hadn't found much yet. If they found him and brought him in, it would be due to public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. You got my curiosity, but you might not like what I find. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you. But please, be careful. I don't think this was just any murderer or kidnapper. I think it was a beast. Beast. The word struck me funny. Like when you jaw your elbow on a hard corner, right in the funny bone. Not a word many use these days, except in hushed whispers and bedtime stories for children. Oh, they were real enough, all right. They just got better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges. But I hadn't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years, back when I was still a cop myself. Well, that's definitely an interesting theory. I just have a feeling about it. Something tells me you can get to the bottom of it. You're good at this sort of thing. Sure, can't you see how busy I am with other cases? I replied a little too harshly. Sarcasm wasn't my strong suit. I reassured her some more and sent her on her way. I didn't want to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. I didn't know if she was in any danger herself, but better safe than sorry. That night, I made my way down to Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed. The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago, but I've got a knack for finding the things otherwise overlooked. A knack, more of a symptom of a condition. Other, less useful symptoms I kept in check. But for the time being, my keen sense of smell would come in handy. It was faint, but I could smell it even before I approached the police line. The scent was less of a thing and more of an emotion. Seduction. A strangely familiar smell. I expected the scent of trepidation or maybe even outright fear, but Mrs. Farnsworth seemed to have been at the height of the pleasure when she left this world. Brought new meaning to a crime of passion. Pushing the thought from my mind, it was time to get down to business. Alright, so I'm actually playing now. Check this out. So the first thing I noticed was these scratches. Oh, burn mark. Burn mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my finger along its length and felt a chill down my spine. This wasn't just any burn mark, this was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked it up. Could Lily have been right? Something unnatural was at play here. But I was no stranger to the strange. Muddy footprints everywhere, difficult to pick out anything from the prints the cops left behind in their haste. But the cops didn't wear $2,000 pairs of Carquinos. It looked like Mr. Farnsworth was there that night and walked away on his own 2 feet. After looking around for a while longer, I realized the park had given up all it was hiding from me, so I trudged back to my apartment, and my head hit my pillow like it owed me money. This is awesome. This is just badass. The next morning, I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares, but I tried to hide my discomfort when I saw Lily was already sitting outside my office. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door and ripped down another notice from the mayor's office. I motioned for her to step inside, seemingly afraid of what I might say. She finally worked up the courage to ask. So, what did you find? Well, I've got some good news. Farnsworth might still be alive. I probably shouldn't have given her false hope like that, but she's... Oh, now you tell me. But she seemed like she needed something to hold on to right then. She didn't need to know about the mark on the tree. How do you know that? Where is he? There were signs he was at the scene and slipped away. My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my meds. But you don't know where he went? Do you think the news this morning is related? What news is that? I hadn't heard. I'd been hungover and unconscious. Haven't you heard? No, I was hungover and unconscious. Nope, rough night followed my morning. They found police chief's wife dead down by the docks. They say it happened last night. Let me guess. Chief Amato is missing too. My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicions, but it faded quickly. Amato was a shit cop and a shit chief. He was half the reason I left the force, but now his wife was dead and I had more questions than I did the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which was helped by the splitting pain in my temples. I told Lily I needed time to work, and she left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I could provide. That night, after the cops had cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I could uncover concerning Mrs. Amato's untimely demise. So this is really cool. I don't know how many of you guys are tabletop players, but I've played a lot of World of Darkness, and this has a very World of Darkness feel to it. The first thing I thought when I saw the burn marks on the tree was, because I thought they were scratches, I was like, werewolf. But then he mentions, like, unnatural magic, which then my next thought is mage. The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil, and... could it be? That smell again, like someone had bottled pure arousal and used it as perfume. And the other thing is, Whoever is the narrator definitely has some supernatural kind of senses. So I'm wondering if he is a werewolf or a mage or some type of supernatural beast. It hit me like a long-forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline. I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hand, shaking. The nightmares. The headaches. No, I was better now. Reformed. I had to focus, no jumping to conclusions. Follow the evidence. And the other thing is, I don't know if the narrator had any relationship with Mr. Farnsworth, but he certainly had a relationship with the police chief, and it sounds like he didn't like him. If he may be a werewolf, it could be possible these nightmares he's having are just him remembering him going out and killing these people's wives and then kidnapping them. In any case, Red Phoenix cigarettes, same shitty brand I smoke every day. Everyone's got their vice. See, now that's suspicious. A pack of the cigarettes that he smokes is at this crime scene that I think that he was at. Let's see if... There. Just there. The smallest piece of purple fabric, torn and caught in the splinter of a board. The police report didn't say anything about Mrs. Amato wearing purple. It was certainly of a quality that you wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting their royal purple threads. I pulled out my own pack of reds and lit up. I could already feel another headache coming on, but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that I had been bubbling to the top of my brain. I think he is also realizing that he is the one who committed these murders. I honestly don't remember the walk back to the office. And he's like having these skips in memory. I'm pretty much sold that the narrator killed these people. Apparently I spent the night in my easy chair. The air from the docks lingered on my clothes. It was still dark out. No, I checked the clock. How long had I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? And now someone else is going to be dead because you murdered them, Mr. Narrator Man. A newspaper was sitting under the door. As I stood to fetch it and I nearly fell over, a wave of nausea hit me like a ton of bricks. Eating human flesh will do that to you. I steadied myself and regained my composure. Before I even picked up the paper, I could already read the headline. Breaking. Mayor missing. Wife found dead. 2 cases is a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. The cops would come asking questions soon. They knew I had a history of antagonizing all the victims. They knew that he had a history of antagonizing all the victims. I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days' worth of inhibitor pills. Inhibitor pills? And that's the other thing. We don't know what the meds he's been taking are for. They very well could be supernatural creature related. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw on my jacket and went to the door. Lily caught me off guard on the other side. Jack, where are you off to today? I've been trying to reach you all day. I'm sorry, Lily, but I don't have time to talk. I have to go. Okay, but we need to talk when you get back. Stay safe. She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. Part of me wanted to stay and tell her it would be okay, but it would be a lie. Ooh, things are getting tense. The alley was located just behind the high-rise apartments where Mayor Vanetti and his wife lived. I could tell the police were spooked now. The crime scene was even sloppier than the last. They hadn't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence. Oh shit, guys. So let's check the trash. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. But I know how to find the good stuff. It doesn't really take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually mean someone was dumping documents. If you were lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Jackpot. Shell companies, shady stock trades, bribes. I knew Mayor Vanetti was crooked, but this was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Vanetti and Chief Amato talking about me. How were they trying to get me to shut down? They didn't like me snooping around crime scenes all the time. Well, they were here to stop snooping around this. I don't know if that was actually exactly what he said, but... Sorry. Vanetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left it in his car? Why wouldn't he have left in his car? Vanetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high, and my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. Yeah, I think he was kidnapped, so if you kidnapped him, then he wouldn't have driven his car, because you would have taken him in your car. As I searched around for anything that might assuage my fears, I caught the scent again. Orgasm. It overwhelmed my other senses with undulating pleasure. It was intoxicating. A weapon used on the weak-willed. A weapon I knew all too well, though it had been many years since I had used it. Was there another like me? Was I being framed? It wasn't possible, was it? So I'm thinking that he might be some type of supernatural creature, like a mage or something. He is thinking that there's another mage, but I think it's him. I was taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. But the nightmares, the headaches, the memory lapses, I couldn't even trust myself. I started walking back out the alley when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. Not just any watch, though. My watch! Oh! How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I first came down the alley. I checked the time before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used it in the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything. So I ran. I don't know why I ran back to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it was the best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lily was still there waiting for me. What's wrong, Jack? You look like you've seen a ghost. My own ghost come back to haunt me from the past. You're not making any sense, Jack. Come sit down. You don't understand. You're not safe around me. I took a good last look at her as I prepared to shove her out the door. I noticed she was wearing the same thing she had when she came to the office first 3 days ago. A beautiful purple dress. It wasn't me. It was Lily. Odd that I hadn't really noticed it before, but it made her seem out of place, out of time. And it was frayed around the edges, torn in places. My chair caught my fall as my knees failed me. It was you. You're the monster. Succubus. Oh, Jack, we're one and the same, you and I. We're both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. There's no such thing as reformation. Those pills you take only make you dull. Beasts like us should never suppress our true natures, as you have, Incubus. For those of you who aren't aware, succubus and an incubus are like male and female versions of the same creature, which, albeit, is, like, just based on old lore and such. Those men were probably dead now, too, I figured. She probably took them back to her lair, harvested their seed. So, you've done all this just to wake me up. You could say that, though it seemed just enough to have you doubt yourself. You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down you probably are. You can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed. You took my watch, messed with my head. Oh, don't act like I didn't do you a favor. Those men hated you and wanted you gone, and now they're gone. I mustered the strength to stand again, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak, compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was a dead man. I had to keep her talking. I've never met a succubus who seduces and kills women. Oh, please, such a 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to pleasures of the flesh. But I still do need an incubus like yourself to take the tainted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I'm tired of draining my lovers just to survive. I'm ready to settle down and start a family. That maniacal laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she wasn't looking my direction. Sorry, but I'm not your guy. With a quick flick of my wrist, I whipped the old bedsheet off the corner mirror. Lily was blinded by her own reflection and sucked into the mirror with a painful monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. Wow. What a great story. Yeah. Wow. That was really great. Thanks everybody for joining me on Free Pasta. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hey, See you next time.